Okay. So thanks everyone for joining. I appreciate you coming to talk about revenue models for the web. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Adrian Hope-Bailey. I'm from Coil. I'm our AC rep and also co-chair the payments working group. Coil is a San Francisco-based company. I'm in Cape Town with a small team of us based here. And our mission is to build a sustainable, human-friendly business model for the web. So how do we find a business model for the web that is a little bit different to the advertising model that we have today, less harmful potentially to users, and addresses the needs of the long tail of creators, and shares the revenue available to be earned for content and services on the web more equitably amongst the people who build on the web. The problem we have today is that the majority of content services are monetized by advertising, but in a large proportion of web users today are actually blocking ads. Number continues to grow, and we're looking for alternative ways that people who are building on the web can monetize what they do. We've seen great solutions in, for example, app platforms, and we're trying to bring something similar to that into the web. Our proposed solution, which we have are working on through the Web Incubator Community Group, is a standard called Web Monetization. It's a declarative API that websites can use to declare how they can be supported. So declare the address of an account where they can accept payments. Websites provide that address in a link tag. We're in the process of migrating from using a meta tag, which was our original proposal. And then browsers who find one of these tags in a site can stream very low value payments to the site, either as the users visiting the site, or users could explicitly instruct the browser to send payments, so tips, donations, for explicit tips or purchases or whatever the case may be. So very simple for browsers to implement, very simple for websites to implement to get started from. In addition to the declarative aspect of the API, there is an imperative side which websites can exploit to make the payments interactive. So rather than just having an account that's sitting receiving money and hoping that users will make donations or payments out of the goodness of their hearts, browsers can actually update the way their services are delivered based on those payments. So they add an event listener and they receive these progress events every time they receive a payment. And as payments come in, they can do things like providing access to exclusive content, or just providing some sort of interactive experience for the user that makes users feel like their contribution to the site is appreciated. And a lot of detail on the standard itself, the API, various tools that have been built around the API available on webmonetization.org. So if folks want to look at more detail there, that's very high level how it works, and very interested to hear some of the other ideas that people in the room today have for monetization. That's me. Thanks very much, Ali.
Thanks, Adrian. I guess Danielle and PJ, I know you had prepared like a quick overview of some of the things you're working on and thinking about. If you want to take over from here.
Sure. Hey everyone, my name is Danielle. I'm from Chrome, and here's PJ. He's going to. Okay, good. So PJ, do you want to give our statement? Thanks.
Be more than happy to. Give me just a moment here, and I will present my slides. Okay, I'm going to be introducing the Digital Goods API. Just as a background for what we're trying to do here. Current payments API, we see the challenge being that the current payments APIs are complex because they're generalizing all of the payment problems. We're wondering, how can we create a simple method for online monetization that serves the more specialized needs of payments for digital goods and in so doing, allow more merchants to participate in revenues. An additional aspect of this problem is there's more types of payment acquirers in this case. So there's beyond just sort of banks and the more typical payment acquirers that you might see for generic goods. We also have some specialized acquirers in the form of app stores. So how can we design something that would support both cases of someone who's setting up digital goods, for example, and a catalog on their own personal website, but would like to use a simpler API to facilitate the payments of those goods. Let's imagine a private software vendor who has, maybe 2 or 3 SKUs or a dozen different software SKUs, and they would like to use, kind of a generic acquirer, but they would also like to use a very similar API, perhaps on the open web, if we were to enable a open web stores ecosystem through a traditional acquirer that chooses to implement the backend for this API as well. So the introduction here is to the digital goods API, which we'd like to discuss today. This is genericizing the digital goods specific cases, making it more trivial for payment acquirers of digital goods, as well as for the merchants who have digital goods. Just a couple of things that differentiate this API from current payments APIs. The first is a simplification of features for the use case. So, for example, no shipping, no gift wrapping, etc. And second, that we're taking a more SKU inventory-centric view rather than a price view. So, for example, in a typical payments API, the focus is not on what inventory specifically is being purchased, but what is the sum total of that inventory, and then of course, like taxes and shipping and other kinds of additional costs that are involved in the transaction. In the case of digital goods, the focus is more around which SKU is it, and the backend has some awareness of this. That's all. Look forward to the discussion.
Thank you, PJ. I hope everybody could hear. I know it was a little crackly, a bit. Pete, I think you had something on Brave. I saw you here. Nope. Hello? All right. We might have. I was just saying we might have lost Pete. I thought
I saw Brian is on. I don't know, Brian, if you did have anything prepared that you wanted to share.
No.
I agree with Toby. I do hear a purring cat.
That's me. I'm sorry. I have a choice. I can either have a purring cat in my lap or a screaming cat at the door. So we've got a purring cat.
Okay. Well, is there anyone else who has any other sort of prepared statements or thoughts they want to share with us before we kick off for?
Yeah, I don't know if we had Marcos or David wanted to talk about any of the things they're working on or thinking about.
Okay.
I'm just listening if you're referring to me.
Okay, then. So, sorry, PJ, by the way, you're still screen sharing, just so you know. Cool. So that's, I mean, those are the 2 proposed APIs that are out there at the moment for revenue generation on the web. Ali, do you have any other models specifically you thought we should cover today? I mean, we did say in the prep that it'd be interested to hear from folks who about the advertising model as well, and whether there's still a place for ads, or whether just better ad-based revenue is also a solution we should be looking at. I don't know if we've managed to get anyone in from the advertising business group. Wendy, I think you're involved in that work. I don't know if there's anything you want to add from that side as well.